Alright, so as some of you might remember, about this time a year ago, I was doing a road trip over a few weeks, starting from Sydney and heading right through Central Australia up into the top end. We covered a lot of ground and we found some really cool animals in this time, and I thought that I'd put together this video that shows all of the cool animals and all of the cool places we went on this trip over a few weeks. It's a bit of a longer video, this one, but it's definitely worth sticking around because there's some really cool finds throughout the whole video. Alright, after 2 days of driving, we have finally made it to the road that we're going to be hitting hard while we're in southern SA. Weather's great outside, it's 35, so it's not ideal right now for things to be out, but over the next couple of hours as it starts to cool off and head into the evening, hopefully some reptiles will be on the move. I was getting a video of Sandy. Little Sandy. It's hot, but reptiles are still out. Straight after the Sandy, have a look at this. Another bicycle dragon. God damn, I want to photograph one of these. And I forgot to bring my telephoto lens. There's a Mallee fowl on the track. No way. That Mallee fowl disappeared, but holy shit. Sitting under the shade on the road in 37 degrees. I just saw this bug crawling across the road. That is the sickest looking beetle I've ever seen. So I was just looking at this crested dragon here, and look at this. Fresh, bigger lapid tracks going over our last tyre tracks. We literally drove this like 10 minutes ago. First find of the night is a little southern spiny-tailed gecko, Stropherus intermedius. We're right next to the highway and we're in a rush to get out to the spot before the temps start to cool off, so we're going to keep things brief with this guy, but reptiles are out. Alright, so we pulled up to spotlight the spinifex because the temperatures have dropped heaps and it didn't take long. We pulled up to this clump of spinifex we eyed out today for good habitat, and then there's a good look at our first target we've ticked off for the trip, Nephrurus stellatus, starred knob-tailed gecko. Probably one of the prettiest Nephrurus I've ever seen. But yeah, he's got these beautiful purple back patterns with these yellowish spots along his back and those yellow eyelids. It is such a nice looking gecko, and his eye shine stood out so well. These are one of 9 species in the genus. It's great to finally get a target. We're pretty wrecked after having pretty much driven all day today. After we got to this area, we've been road cruising non-stop. So we're honestly probably going to call it now. Start cruising back now that we've got our main target. Round 2 for thorny devils. It's going to be a lot hotter today than it was yesterday as well. So it'll be interesting to see if that's going to spice up the devil activity. And if not, we'll be back out here again this afternoon. So yeah, we had a real slow morning with only a few crested dragons that disappeared as per usual. So we decided to head back and come back out in the early afternoon so that we could hit it hard then. En route to the habitat we wanted to hit that afternoon, we found something pretty special crossing the road in front of us. We got a thorny! No way! Oh my god! Oh my god, look at that! No way! That is stunning! The thorny devil, Moloch horridus, one of the craziest looking reptiles in Australia, and this is like one of the most iconic Australian reptiles. Just seeing this little thorny devil scampering across the road. It's the sight we've been dreaming of over the past couple of days, and it's finally paid off. The pressure's off now. Well, the yellows on her are so nice, and this is also probably the biggest thorny that I've seen. Being a gamete that lives in outback Australia, they love a little bit of heat. When a lot of lizards aren't active, and a lot of other reptiles like the snakes and stuff, it's like almost 40 degrees. It's too hot for a lot of snakes and stuff like that. But yeah, the thorny devils and the monitors are still out. And another crazy thing about thornies is the way they walk. They do this super weird, like shuffly sort of walk. Like as soon as we saw that on the road, we instantly knew that we were looking at a thorny. But again, it's another thing that makes thornies so unique. Like no other lizard does this weird little shuffle walk, and I'm not sure why they do it. It's been a pretty good start. There's been some pretty sick lizards, like that gecko last night, the crested dragons, and the thorny devil. Those are the three main targets here. We're going to send this little thorny devil on his way, and yeah, see if we can turn up another one. How good. All right, so we saw this dragon run across the road, and we weren't sure. I thought this was another bicycle dragon, but it turns out that this is a Norris's dragon, or a Mallee tree dragon, Amphibolurus norrisi, which is a new species for me, and it's a pretty sick one. It's clearly gravid. She's heavily gravid. I would love to photograph her because it's my first one, but being a heavily gravid female, we don't want to stress her out or handle her, and hopefully we can turn up another one. But yeah, that is sick. That Mallee fowl number 3. Oh my god. That is insane. I've got this little crested dragon, Ctenophorus cristatus. This one, the only car that's driven through all day, just nicked him the tiniest bit. He has the tiniest bit of blood on his mouth, but nothing substantial. He's going to be more than fine. I just plopped him on that rock in a nice pose so that he can run off when he's ready. We're going to leave him there. He's more than fine, probably just a little bit shaken up. But it's cool to get a close-up look at one. It's a shame he's been hit, but it's also good that he's not going to die and those injuries aren't too severe. But we're going to leave this one to it. I would love to photograph him in this pose and everything, but I'm not going to add to the stress of him being run over. We'll just keep looking, and there's plenty more to find. And as I ended that video, he ran off like nothing had happened. Look at him go. That's great. Sun's starting to go down. Temperatures are holding so well tonight. It's a lot warmer than it was this time yesterday. As soon as the sun went down last night, it was cold, really. But it's still above 30 right now, so fingers crossed we can turn up Strappy tonight and a desert skink. All right, we haven't even fully got dark yet. It did not take long for the first target of the night to show up. That is the desert skink, Lyophilus inornata. One of my favorite things about coming to the Mallee is finding these lizards. These things are so cool. This is like, I just love the Lyophilus genus as a whole. And these desert Lyophilus are so sick. Kintorii, striata, and inornata are all so good. This is just a little guy. There's the size reference there. They get probably double, maybe triple this size. I've seen them like an adult white skink. So for anyone who doesn't know, that's like 15 centimeters snout to vent, a fully grown one. Such a cool lizard. They live in the burrows along the roadside. So I took a video earlier today showing those burrows. That would have been what these lizards dig in, and they generally hang out in colonies. So you'll get several inornata hanging out in an area. I freaking love these lizards. How good. All right, now that we've done that lizard, ticked off pretty early, dusk, it's prime time for an elapid. So we're gonna quickly make the most of this, drive a bit quicker, see what's on the road, see if we can get a big elapid crossing. Nightjar on the road. Just chilling on the road. All right, so the next find of the night is a young Leucasium damaeum beaded gecko. This is the first one of the species we've seen for the trip. They're usually quite common out in these sandy areas out in arid New South Wales and South Australia. I sort of take these for granted because of how common they are, but this is a really nice looking individual as well, probably because it's a bit younger and they live in the sandy little lizard burrows. So a lot of those burrows that we were seeing today will be from several different terrestrial geckos, as well as the monitors, the dragons. Heaps of the lizards out here in the Mallee use those burrows, as well as the snakes too, to be honest. But we're gonna leave him be. We still haven't got fully dark yet. The temperatures are dropping rapidly, but we're gonna keep at it and hopefully we'll be able to produce something good soon.
That's why I didn't tell
Baby mulga snake. That's the first one of the night. All right, it took a little while to get the situation under control because it's a horrible size, but we have a beautiful hatchling mulga snake. This thing is not large at all. This is a tiny little youngster. His colors are so vibrant. Well, this is the first snake of the trip as well. It's always a good night when you see a mulga snake. I've never seen one in South Australia before either, and this clean little guy is absolutely stunning. And he's doing this thing that a lot of defensive mulgas do where they gape their jaw. They flatten that neck and gape their jaw. I'm trying to tell you to bugger off. It's cool. You can see their fangs when they do it. Before we decide to do a U-turn and start heading back tonight, we're going to quickly shine some spinifex. I'd like to see one more stellatus tonight. This is the same patch of spinny that we got the stellatus last night. So yeah, we'll see if we can turn one up. Have a go at the size of these ants. These things are retardedly big. And they're just like running at my feet. That is a good sight. Amber, come look at this. Southern shovel-nosed snake.
Oh, good spot.
Oh my god, I thought it was barbed wire. Alright, we're having a little look at this beautiful southern shovel-nosed snake. Brachiophorus semifasciatus. This is it really is not coming through on the camera at all, but it's got some really nice orangish coloration with some, and just the contrast between the black bands. It almost looks like collets coloured, sort of. It's a beautiful little snake. And yeah, I was pretty excited to get this one tonight because, yeah, new species for me that I haven't seen in the area. But yeah, this is one of 8 in the genus of small fossorial elapids. They burrow in through the soil, and they've got that shovel nose that enables them to just dig right in and under the smooth sand and the loose soil substrate. They typically feed on lizards and stuff, weakly venomous, but they don't bite. Amber the gun has spotted the stellatus for tonight at the same spot as last night. Starred knobtail gecko. I didn't get to say last night. I reckon this is, I've only seen 4 from the Nymphaeus genus, but I think this is the most beautiful that I've seen so far, this species. This one isn't as nice as the animal we saw last night, but still, they are a stunning gecko. It's hard not to love those big beady eyes. Lusty as we got a little mulga on the way out. Hell yeah. Oh my god, there's a cloud of dust. Little mulga snake out tonight. Look at the colours when he flares out. That is a beautiful little mulga snake. It is very warm, very fast, because the temps didn't get too low last night. So we might only have a small window of snake activity. Hopefully we can get a few other things on the way. Shingle back here. Yeah, go grab him. I'll just pull up. This is pretty sick. Amber's first shingleback to Liqua rugosa, related to the blue tongues. They're in the blue tongue genus, and they have probably the most common names out of any lizard, I reckon. People call them pine cones, stumpy lizards, sleepy lizards, bog eyes, shinglebacks, stumpies. It's just crazy, but they obviously can't run fast because they're fat little blobs. They've got that tail on the back that replicates another head for predators, but usually they just flare up and defend themselves. They open their mouth, flash that blue tongue. This guy's pretty chill, and he also looks like a bit of an old timer, to be honest. We wanted to try somewhere a bit better for straps than a brown snake, so you can see we're not in the Mallee anymore. We're in this open saltbush country. That dead mulga back there was a sign that snakes are moving today though. That's a cool way to start the day. Got a bearded dragon on the road here. Oh, that's a nice coloured one, holy hell. Today we've come up to the Moon Plain in central South Australia to look for our next target, which is the inland Taipan. Where we are on the Moon Plain is one of the most desolate, remote parts of Australia. There's absolutely nothing out here, but somehow this one snake thrives out here, and it's one of the only places that you can find them in Australia. They're not easy to find, so we're gonna have a couple of days looking to, currently 38 degrees now. It'll be dark in 2 hours, so it's probably gonna be too hot for taipans this afternoon. We're counting on tomorrow morning producing the goods, so yeah.
first central bearded dragon since we've started looking for taipans. Going to Vidiceps. This is a massive male. And you can tell he's getting pissed off because he's got that jet black beard. It's currently still 40 degrees at 7 p.m. So I'd be surprised if we get a taipan this afternoon. Yeah, it's cool to see this big bearded dragon though, right on the edge of town. An iconic Australian lizard and probably one of the most commonly kept reptiles in the whole world. But yeah, out here in Central Australia, they're very common. There's not much out here. And the bearded dragons are absolutely thriving. How good. Right there's 2 earless dragons out. It's almost dark. These earless dragons are everywhere out here. We just stopped for 3 all in the same spot on the road. We've got this guy here. They're also called pebble mimicking dragons. They're everywhere all over the roads. The gravid females come out and bask to warm up those eggs. And they often sleep on the road as well. But typically they sort of shelter down these loose soil cracks out on the gibberel, like holes that go under small little pebbles and stones. And once the weather starts to warm up, they actually stand up on their back legs. All right, we're on to the next iconic lizard from the Moon Plains, the gibber dragon, Ctenophorus gibber. This isn't as big as they can get bigger than that. But yeah, they're commonly seen sitting on the roads and sitting up on these isolated little large rocks on the side. We just had a car go through that cleaned up probably like 15 earless dragons and a few of these guys. But this is the first up close look at a live one, which is exciting. Beautiful little dragon, quite chunky. So I'm pretty sure these are gibber earless dragons, Tympanocryptus intima. Yeah, beautiful little earless dragon. And you can see their camouflage is incredible. Like, if I didn't know that lizard was there, I would not see it. They blend in so well. Despite the name, earless dragons actually do have ears. They're just covered by scales. And I'm surprised that this guy's sitting still. We aren't going to hassle him too much because we're going to go keep looking for this taipan. But the lizards are out. That's a good sign. I'd be out if I was a taipan because I'd probably be trying to eat one of these. All right, first Arvo cruising for taipans. Funnily enough, we just lost a taipan. So they're out. We know they're out. We've just got to try and produce one. There's a chance we could see one after dark. We're probably going to go to bed early tonight so that we can get up before dark tomorrow and get out here and try and get one early morning. All right, so we decided to head out on foot for a little bit just to see what we could see out here tonight in the heat. And there is the first snake in Kubipedi. Young little curl snake, Suda, the most common elapid out here on the Moon Plain, and probably one of the most common elapids throughout a lot of arid Australia. It's cool for Amber because it's her first one, and she never has to look at one again. But yeah, there's not really that much going for them. They've got a cool black head, and yeah, but other than that, they're common as hell. They're cold tolerant. You just see them out all the time, everywhere. Yeah, they feed predominantly on lizards. They have got a venom that could make you it won't kill you, but it could make you a little bit ill. But yeah, cool. Not a taipan, nowhere near a taipan. We decided that we're going to head to bed pretty early tonight because we want to get up before there's any light tomorrow to start looking for taipans. It's still mid-30s outside. We're going to head to bed and we'll see you in the morning, bright and early. It's the following morning, 5:30, we're up. Not messing around this morning, nice and early, and we're heading out on foot to start because we're going to head to that first spot that we lost that taipan yesterday afternoon to see if we can turn up another one. And yeah, it's still 27 degrees. You know you're up early when the geckos are still out. Little binos gecko. We've been seeing a few geckos scattering across the road because it's been so warm overnight. Now's the coldest point of the night. And still being 26 degrees, it's like a lot of things are just going to be moving later. So yeah, I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw a curl snake or something as well. Walking around on foot again, and look at this. This is a shed skin of an inland taipan. You can see the eye there, the head. That's pretty cool. Not the biggest taipan. You can also see those scales. Sick. It's not the oldest shed either. They're definitely around and moving at the moment.
Last time that I was out here about a week and a half ago, we found a super fresh adult taipan shed on the edge of the road near a series of cracks. And then while looking at that one, we found a bunch of older sheds as well. So it looks like just an active series of soil cracks that the snakes use like frequently. So we're heading there now, and we're just gonna lap that to focus on for now. Given how warm it is already and how warm it's gonna get today, we've only got a really, really small window to try and find a taipan. So we've got to allocate our time wisely.
Yes!
Oh my god! Straight away, inland taipan!
Holy
Look
shit,
at
it's
it.
huge!
Oh my god! Alright, so I just checked in to say that we have a short window of time and we're going down to where those taipan sheds are. We haven't even made it to where the taipan sheds are, and here is our target species, the inland taipan. The sun hasn't even risen and this beautiful snake was just crossing the road already. Oh my god, I am so glad that we got up when we did. And this snake is not happy. This is one of the most defensive inlands I've ever seen, but holy hell is it beautiful. It's like this beautiful light brown color, and the Cooperpedy inland taipans have this subtle banding. So like some patches of the scales don't have any pattern, and then some have the black flecks between it. And this one's a perfect example of that. But oh my god, I did not think we were gonna get a taipan this quickly or this easily. But far out, we're 2 taipans deep and we haven't even had a full 24 hours in the area. And you can see it's doing that weird like loopy defense thing. Oh my god, that is so awesome. This is the snake that we came all this way to look for. And getting up early this morning has paid off. The inland taipan, one of the most famous snakes in the world. They're widely known for having the most toxic venom of any land snake. They have never ever accounted to a human death, which is absolutely crazy to think about, because if you look at something like an eastern brown snake, which I've said before in my previous videos, it's got a lot of deaths to their name. The reason these snakes have not got a death to their name is because look where we are. We are out in the middle of nowhere. There's no people around here. Encounters with this snake are so rare. So bites are a lot less likely to occur. The only time you're really gonna get bitten is if you're keeping them or if you're catching them. That's why the most toxic snake on earth has got no deaths to their name. To me, the craziest thing about the inland taipan is that they live in like the most desolate part of Australia. We're literally out on the moon plains. There's not a tree in sight. There's no cover on the surface for these snakes. They live exclusively underground in the soil cracks, the deep soil cracks. What happens is this soil gets wet, and the heat, the intense heat from this area just dries it and cracks it and forms these deep cracks in the soil. As well as that, you get the rat burrows, you get the lizard burrows and stuff, but beneath the surface there is just a whole labyrinth of cracks, caves, tunnels. All the snakes, all the animals out here use these. Like you get the rodents, all the lizards out here use burrows. These snakes, you get strappies, straps-native brown snakes and mulgars as well. They're all using these soil cracks. Taipans can stay beneath the surface for months at a time. They don't need to come to the surface often. They can go for such a long time without eating. They can go for months and months. And the reason they have that toxic venom is because they could go months out here without seeing a meal. So when they see a rat, they need to make sure that it doesn't get away, because that food is really valuable to their survival. So they need to have that toxic venom to quickly kill that rat so that it doesn't get away and a meal isn't wasted. And when they bite rodents, they kill them almost straight away, like 5 to 10 seconds, and they'll be dead, which is absolutely insane to think about. I think it was like 1 drop of their venom can kill 250,000 mice, which is also ridiculous. I don't know, maybe a lot of people think that the toxic venom of them is really scary and intimidating, and maybe it is if you're bitten, but when you leave the snakes alone, like you aren't going to run into one unless you're looking for them, I reckon. So pretty much all video I was referring to this first taipan that got away. Basically, we saw half of its body going down a hole in the concrete in this well. It was trapped and it got away. We didn't see that snake again, but 2 weeks later, I was out there and I checked that well again and the snake had come back out, and it turns out it wasn't a taipan. It was this strap-snouted brown snake. And because we only got a brief glimpse, that's what I thought it was. But regardless, we managed to rescue this beautiful snake. It was trapped in the well for who knows how long. It was emaciated and it was severely dehydrated. So we gave it a drink of water and we made sure it went down a soil crack. It would have been certain death if we didn't manage to get to this thing. So it was a positive outcome, and yeah, turns out we only saw one taipan. All right, it's been a few days and I'm sort of in this point between locations on the trip where I wasn't going to include anything or film anything from this part of the trip, but we found something pretty awesome. So this is what we found this afternoon on the highway. This absolutely beautiful sub-adult western or young adult western blue tongue. It is one of the nicest looking blue tongues. This is my favorite species of blue tongue, and in this particular area we're just below the NT border. They're not overly common, but this is only the second one I've ever seen in my life. The place we got the Gillens further south, they're meant to be common, and we were praying to see one over the past few days and we didn't. So they were in the back of our mind as something we could see on for the remainder of the trip. And yeah, today we've turned one up, which is so exciting. Amber's first western blue tongue. Yeah, this is like the coolest, like, oh my God. These are such a cool lizard, and they're one of, I think, 7 species in the Taliqua genus. But yeah, without a doubt, these are my favorites. They're just such a sick looking lizard. He's very alert. It is 34 degrees and he was crossing the road on this big storm front that's coming over. It's gonna be great for all sorts of reptiles, so we're not gonna be long with him. We're gonna shoo him on his way off the highway and keep moving because I think a few more reptiles will be out. But that is a sensational find, and it could be the last reptile of the video, but it's a very good way to end the video as well. How good is that? All right, I was gonna film an intro for this video when I woke up a bit more because we have a massive drive ahead of us today. But there is the first reptile of the day, a young Parenti just basking on these rocks here. We stopped to look at a long-nosed dragon and I just looked over and spotted this beautiful little Parenti. That's the third one we've seen this trip as well. Far out. Basically, we're heading north right up through the middle of the Northern Territory. I think it's like a 10-hour drive we've got today to do, and the whole way we're going through such good habitat. So we've got a chance of seeing reptiles the entire day. Decent sized sand monitor. That's cool, dog. Get out of here. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
Central Bluey. Woohoo! It's been like an hour-ish since the Parenti, but we've got the next reptile for our drive up north today. Central blue tongue, Taliqua multifasciata, an iconic red desert reptile. Yeah, he was just out sitting on the tar this morning. We've got some patchy cloud cover. They often get cleaned up like a lot of these red desert lizards out here because just road trains come pummeling through and they can't really slow down for things. So it's good to save a few things so far this morning in this trip. It is a pretty good start to the day. I've been looking forward to this drive since I knew we were coming up north. I just saw this little young as hell central netted dragon scampering across the road, and we're just south of Tennant Creek. I thought we'd found a Tennant Creek earless dragon and I got hell excited. It's got the exact same dimensions as a timp as well, but it's just a cute little netted back on the road. Another monitor lizard, little Sandy. Get off the road, get off the road. You! That is a legit hatchling sand monitor. No cars coming. Have a look at this. This absolutely
gorgeous little hatchling sand monitor, Varanus gouldi. We've seen so many of them this trip, but this tiny little youngster is so cute. He's very reactive. I don't think I'm gonna get any closer than this. He's probably gonna dip, but it's about 40 degrees. This is probably like the 8th or 9th sandy we've seen for the day, but without a doubt the coolest. He is so cute. Oh no, he's gone. While walking back to the car after that sandy, Amber spotted this skeleton of a Burton's legless lizard. All along this road, it is so burnt. Massive fires have gone through here, and this Burton's is clearly a result of the bushfires, unfortunately. We're about 2 hours from our town for the night where we're going to be herping. It's late arvo now. It's almost 40 degrees outside still. It feels really, really, really good. And late arvo is usually great for all the lizards. So I'm praying that we'll be able to turn up like a northern blue tongue or a yellow spotted monitor or a frilly or something with Savo. But yeah, if not, then we'll probably just see you after dark. We've got no hope.
It feels so good.
There it is. That's a frilly. Well, we know we're in the tropics now. There is the first frilled neck lizard for the trip. That is very exciting. And it is so ridiculously hot and humid. I'm so excited for tonight. And an olive python as well, a dead olive. Road train coming. Well, this was one of the targets for this afternoon. That is a northern blue tongue. That is fresh. We had one road train overtake us while we were stopping to look at that frilly. No doubt that's what's cleaned him up. That's a shame. That is the first frill neck I've ever road cruised.
God.
Wow. Look at that.
Awesome.
All right, we haven't even got to the location yet. We're still 15 minutes out, and there is a beautiful big male frilly. We lost that one earlier, but this big guy is stuck around. They are such an insane, impressive lizard. One of the most iconic Australian species, and this is the first one that I've ever road cruised in my life. Oh my God, it is so hot and humid. I am so excited for tonight. Here we are again, literally not even a K down the road, doing another U-turn for another frill neck on the exact same spot on the road. What the hell is going on? I've never road cruised frillies in my life, and now we've got two on the road. Off the road, mate. Well, holy shit, there it is. There's the first snake of the night on dusk. A good-sized olive python. Dusk is prime time for snakes. These are one of the largest and most solid-bodied snake species in the country. For the species, it's nowhere near as big as they can get. It's probably about 2 meters long. They can get to, oh, yeah, I don't know. They get to like above 3 meters. Not commonly, but it does happen. But they're just so solid. They generally are found around water and around creeks and stuff. There's been photos of them smashing freshwater crocodiles and all sorts of crazy stuff. They are such an impressive snake, and oh, this is such an you can't come to the territory without seeing an olive python. That beautiful olive python is on his way now. It has been years since I've seen one of these beautiful snakes. I am very excited. That is so sick. There it is. There's the black-headed python. Here it is, the beautiful black-headed python, Aspidites melanocephalus. These guys are one of 2 in the genus, the other being the Woma python, and they're one of the most unique groups of pythons in Australia because they're the only snakes, the only pythons that don't have the heat-sensing pits. They feed predominantly on reptiles, so they don't need those heat-sensing pits for mammals and stuff, like a lot of other Australian pythons, because the majority of their food comes from those cold-blooded reptiles. I've seen black-headed pythons splattered on the road with ackies coming out of their bellies and stuff. They absolutely go mental for reptiles, and that's what he'll be out here tonight, chasing. It's a great night for reptiles if the blackheads are out. Things are going off tonight. Look at this beautiful northern spiny tail gecko, Strophaurus ciliaris. And look at the size of this thing. That's the biggest one I've ever seen, and it is an absolute cracker. I haven't seen ciliaris from this area before, but this one is beautiful. Cyclorana australis, northern snapping frog. Large, savage, fat frog. This isn't as big as they get. They're very common up here, but they got to get featured in the video because they're just too cool. Bye, buddy. Tonight is insane. Me, Rugosus #1 and Rugosus #2 right next to each other.
Oh my.
What is happening? All right, so this was one of the main targets for tonight. Acanthopus rugosus, the rough-scaled death adder. This has been insane. There was 2 next to each other on the road. I've never seen an adult of this species in my life, and for 2 to be on the road next to each other is absolute insanity. We haven't been out for an hour total tonight. The bugs are ridiculous. It is so hot and steamy. The conditions are so good, and I cannot believe that we've gotten one of the targets, two of the targets. I don't know what's going on. This is ridiculous, but I want to get back on the road. I'm going to snap some real quick photos of this one, and then, yeah, we're going to get the going. But holy hell. These guys are one of 7 in their genus, and they're known for having the fastest strike of any snake in the world. The death adders hold the fastest strike. They have massive fangs, and they have very potent venom. They're an ambush predator, so they sit and they wait camouflage. You can see, if I pan out, you can see how easily it would blend in with all the leaf litter and all the loose debris on the ground. So they wait in ambush. They use that little yellow caudal lure on the end of their tail there, and they wiggle that to replicate a worm or a small insect to draw in lizards and birds and mammals. And as soon as they come in, those death adders strike out with their lightning quick speed, and with those big fangs, they just sink them in and inject a deadly dose of venom. They remind me a lot of vipers from Southeast Asia. They're pretty much just like a terrestrial viper. They're so similar to rattlesnakes and all that, but it's still so early, so we got to keep this momentum up and we got to keep going because we are on an absolute roll. All right, and this is a look at that absolutely beautiful second animal that was on the road. This thing's a bit more of a creamish sort of coloration. I am honestly in disbelief that we managed to road cruise 2 of these right next to each other. He's very keen on getting away, so we're gonna let him go and we're gonna keep going and see what else we can find. Next up, now that we're back on this road, is a Burton's legless lizard. The wind's picking up, the humidity's dropping off, and the bugs are also dying down. So I think the activity will slow down a bit now. It's a cool in situ on this Latoria cerulean green tree frog. Wow, that's actually a sick in situ. That would make a bang and wide angle. There's another death adder. Are you actually joking? Far out. Oh, he's a bit smaller than this one. You can see this one breathing on the scales there, and it's got some interesting marks along its back as well. I don't know what they are from, but it definitely shows that this is a different individual, and just the contrast of it on the road looks so cool. This little guy's getting quite defensive now as well, actually. So that's the perfect example of what they do when they get defensive. And he looks real clean on those scales too, but yeah, he's having a few strikes. We definitely don't want to get too close because he would take the opportunity to light one of us up if he got it. But yeah, that is actually insane. 3rd death adder for the night. Wowza. What the hell is going on? Wow, that is nice. Look at the coloration on that thing. I don't know if you're getting sick of death adders yet, but look at the coloration on this thing. It is so nice. This is without a doubt the nicest death adder of the night. Being a youngster, well, a sub-adult, those colors are a lot more vibrant, and I love that darker head on this animal too. I am frothing this thing hard right now. Holy demon. What the hell? This looks pretty similar to all the other ones, but holy f***. That is my first top end bandy. This is the top end. This is a different species.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, this is a different species. I just checked the distribution map. It looks like this is annulata still. So it's not a new species. It's annulata, the same as what we get back home. Yeah, they feed predominantly on blind snakes. So yeah, they've got it pretty hard because blind snakes are the worst. You got to respect the humble bandy. Spotted this one on the side of the road. Yet another death adder. This is number 6. Far out. Death adder number 6 looks pretty big. Sorry, death adder number 7. Wow, that is the biggest death adder by far. Look at the size of that thing.
Is that the same one?
No, that's not the same one. That's way bigger.
Do you want to take it on my...
And look at the size of that thing. Death adder number 7's here, and Amber has just spotted number 8. What is actually going on? Oh no, this is the same one from before. Yeah, I recognize the patterning. Where are they coming from? Because this is a ridiculous amount of death adders. I've never seen so many adders in my life in one night. This is just so actually awesome.
The top end has welcomed us, that's for sure. Northern shovel-nosed snake. Another species for the night, another species for the trip. That is the third Brachiophis species that we've seen this trip. Wow, that is awesome. So this is Brachiophis roperi, the northern shovel-nosed snake. A small fossorial front-fanged elapid, weakly venomous. They don't bite, very small. They feed predominantly on reptiles and reptile eggs, small reptiles and their eggs. Yeah, I'm not really taking many photos tonight, just of those adders. Sort of just enjoying the night's herping and just grabbing some videos along the way. And yeah, it's good. Beautiful snake. Let's keep it going. There's that same death adder from before. We just had to stop a few cars to get them off. Lucky, if we let those cars go through, they would have killed both of these death adders. So yeah, gotta do what you gotta do. I don't think this one doesn't have a caudal lure, so we haven't seen this one tonight. And that looks a bit more beat up, so that's number 9. That one back there is the same one we've already seen twice tonight. We're gonna head to bed. It's not even that late, but we're gonna save our energy now that we've got our main targets for tomorrow night. When we're in better habitat for the other 2 targets. We will see you guys tomorrow. All right, so today we haven't really filmed too much. We've seen 9 frill-neck lizards, and that's pretty much it. We just went and swam around and sussed some places, but we're at the area we're gonna be herping tonight. So for the Savo, we're just gonna be driving around and finding some nice habitat for the snakes we wanna see tonight. We will see you on dark, ready to rumble.
There's a really cool A-frame one there with a walk.
All right, we've got our habitat in mind for where we're gonna herp tonight. It's gonna be dark shortly. The clouds have rolled in late arvo, so the temperatures are hopefully gonna hold. And we're just gonna pull up and eat dinner while we wait for it to get dark. So we just road cruised this beautiful Western pygmy mulga snake. Just after I did that video, this is one of the targets for tonight. All right, so we just got one of our biggest targets for tonight. The Western well, actually for the whole trip, the Western pygmy mulga snake, Pseudechus weigelii. Late afternoon, our mates drove through in front of us, and their car must have spooked him out onto the road behind him. He just crossed right in front of us. It was so unexpected. So these snakes are one of 8 in their genus. They're one of the smallest. I think they are the smallest. Well, they do still get like 4 or 5 foot. All right, we're well and truly into prime time now. That was such a good start to the night, and earlier than we expected to get anything. But yeah, we're gonna keep cruising now, and hopefully we can turn up a few more things. That is sick. You can see the clouds rolling in. Humidity is insane out there. That is a sight to behold. Black-headed python. Oh yeah. Oh, look at him hissing.
Let's see.
That is sick. We're just gonna be quick with this beautiful black-headed python because we had a good look at one last night. It would make sense to spend a bit more time showing this one off because the bugs aren't as intense as last night. But we've had a recent rain through this patch of the road, and we're still on dusk, so it's prime time. We've got to see if we can get that northern brown snake. Little imposter, Burton's legless lizard, motoring across the road. Alrighty, next find of the night. We've got a northern hooded scaly foot. Now, the other night we saw western hoodeds as we were driving up, actually, yeah, 2 nights ago. But this is another new species for the trip. I think there's 4 to 5 different species of Pygopus in the genus. This guy was sitting perfectly still, and now I've started videoing, he's moving around. They're called flat-footed lizards, so I don't know if I'll be able to show you on here, but they have small little flaps at the base on the sides of their body where their limbs have been reduced over time. Yeah, that is cool. Another find for the night. I've just had a bug go in my eye. It's time to let him go. That is the main target of the night. Boiga irregularis, the night tiger, and that thing is absolutely gorgeous. Look at the red and whites on this thing. Amber!
It's stunning!
That is bug in the nose. Have a look at this absolutely beautiful Catherine night tiger, Boiga irregularis. The night tiger form of these snakes are ridiculously stunning, and this is easily my favorite species in the entire world. I am so obsessed with these things, and these top end Northern Australian night tigers, these red and white,
animals have got to be one of the prettiest snakes in Australia. They are so cool. Boiga are a large genus. They're found in several continents across the world. This is the only species of boiga in Australia, and I think they're one of the best for sure. I freaking love these snakes to bits. Watching them eat and work those rear fangs into meals is just so cool. And just the coloration on them is stunning. They get a fair bit bigger than this, and they're widely known for being introduced to Guam, where they've made like 7 species of bird go extinct because they feed predominantly on birds. They are generalist species, so they'll eat frogs, they'll eat lizards, they'll eat rodents. But birds are the main food source for these arboreal colubrids. They're one of only 6, I think, colubrids off the top of my head. I think they're only 6 colubrids in Australia, so we don't have many. Of what we have, we've got some pretty good ones, and this guy's slowly cruising off. I'm gonna try and snap a few shots of him, and then yeah, we're gonna release this absolute cracker. That is so cool. Funny that. We've managed to spot this young freshwater crocodile that's come up on the bank. It's not a hatchling, but it is a couple of years old. When they're hatchlings, they're probably about the size of its tail length there. But he's just chilling, sitting on the side of the bank here. He's probably going to gallop off down into the water any second now. But yeah, these are one of 2 species of crocodiles that we have in Australia. They're the less concerning of the 2 crocodiles. They're not something you have to be worried about when you're swimming in the water. They're very passive because they're chill. They don't see people as a food source, so they're not going to bite you unless they feel threatened or you're messing with one. But you got to be careful swimming around here and walking around the creeks and stuff up in the top end, because salties often get into places that people sort of hang out in the dry season. As the water floods, the salties go further upstream, and that usually leads to bites, which is never a good thing because the crocodiles always end up coming off second best. But there's yet another great find on what's been such a good night so far tonight.
That was a good video.
Beautiful little spotted snake. He's only quite small, and they're closely related to curl snakes, which are they're basically just the northern version of a curl snake. But they've got a little bit more of a funky pattern on the neck. They're not venomous enough to kill you, but it will ruin your night and make you a bit crook. They feed predominantly on lizards and stuff, so that's what that venom's specialized for. But yeah, this is definitely a breeding adult. It looks like quite an old snake as well. Its scales are a little bit rough looking. Very nice boiga. Oh, he's got a feed in his belly. How good. He's got something fresh in his belly. So we aren't going to muck with this one too much, but that is the second night tiger of the night, and this is going to be the last snake as well. When you get a snake, it's got a feed in its belly. If you harass them and stress them, they'll just regurgitate that meal, and it's not what you want. Great way to end the night. This is going to be the last snake, I'd reckon. And we will come back tomorrow for another crazy spot that we're going to hit with lots of snakes. It was hard to get up this morning, but we have to get up early to come out into these rocky hills to try and find one of the targets, which is the black palm rock monitor, Varanus glebopalma. It's very warm up here, and I'm not overly confident, to be honest. We flopped on our glebos this morning, but that's all good. You can't have a bad morning when you're walking around in habitat like this. We're going to punch it out to the next spot, and we probably won't get up to too much until later this arvo, once the heat of the day is sort of subsiding a bit. So we'll see you then. It's 5 o'clock now, so we're just going to head down to the spot we're going to herp tonight and spend the arvo down there, try and find a golden tree snake or some turtles or something, and stay down there for dark so we get as much time as possible. The weather's going to be great. We had a midday shower and it's so hot still, so it's going to be really good weather. I have no doubt we're going to turn up several snakes. We'll see once we get out there. It should be good. It's dusk now, so
So we're gonna try some road cruising and see if we can turn anything up. All the conditions are good. Golden tree snake. The night is off to a cracking start with this beautiful gold phase common tree snake. Up in the top end, you get these beautiful golden variants of the common tree snake, and they are honestly stunning. This is the first live one that I've ever seen active. I've only ever seen one before this, and it was sleeping in a branch, but to see it now on sunset is so sick. That's what we were walking around hoping to see this afternoon, and I'm not going to take photos because my camera's packed away, but it is so sick to be able to see it. And like, look at the blue flares behind his neck as well. We're not going to spend long with him. We don't have long tonight, so we're going to let him go and see what's going to be up next. Oh yeah, first water python of the night. That is awesome.
These guys bite and shit.
They're also called rainbow serpents because of the iridescence on the scales. They're easily the most common snake on the Adelaide River in the Northern Territory. They're so common up here. The bugs here are ridiculous, and we're going to see more of these tonight, without a doubt. So we're just going to keep things quick. Next snake, a big fat keelback. He's motoring. All right, next up for the night is another colubrid, the keelback or freshwater snake. One of the more common snakes in the top end. They smash frogs, and out in this wetland, there's no shortage of frogs. You can tell how well fed he is. He's so fat. Look at that. They're a small snake. This would be an adult. And you can also see that lump on the side. That's a parasite that they get from eating frogs. You can tell a snake's eating frogs, and they have those weird lumpy parasites on them. This is quite a dull one. Across their range, there's a fair bit of variation. In North Queensland, there's those real nice golden coloured keelbacks. Always so sick to see. Another good one to add to the list for the trip. Oh, is it dead? Oh no, it's not dead. Another keelback down here. Sitting in the water on the edge, right next to where the crocs are. Second water python for the night. Significantly bigger than the last one. Look at that iridescence on the scales. It is beautiful. Nice yellow-bellied python. They often get mistaken. Oh, he's switched on. They often get mistaken for olive pythons, but that yellow belly is a telltale sign that you're looking at a water. And he is going. Here's a little Dahl's aquatic frog. Little green boy hopping across the road. These things are everywhere. No doubt what those colubrids will be feeding up on. Got a beautiful adult freshwater crocodile here on the edge of the bank. She must be a defensive female because she's not letting us get close. She was in the water before and then just exploded out and charged us. We do not want to get close. We don't want to stress her out too much, but that is so sick. Big water python motoring through the car park. It's a nice clean one as well. Lovely. We can only spend 2 hours out here anyways before we got to head home, and that's now. So hopefully you enjoyed watching some top end herping, and I will be still coming back up here again, so it's not the end of the world that we didn't see heaps tonight. So expect some more top end herping content coming out over the next couple of weeks. Darwin carpet. No way. That is sick. Alright, he's started to cruise off a bit now, but this is one of the best finds of the trip without a doubt. This is absolutely stunning Darwin carpet python. Morelia spilota variegata. I've been up here, this is the 4th time I've come to Darwin, and I've never ever seen one until now, and it is such a cracker. It's been worth the wait, and it was literally in ambush on the edge of this concrete block. The Darwin carpets are known to sort of hang around those areas that you get people in the backyards and in those more rural sorts of areas rather than out in the bush, because they feed predominantly on those rodents. So that's no doubt what he was waiting in ambush for. But these can be pretty elusive. This is a buzzer beater. I already videoed that outro saying that we're going to leave Fog Dam and head to the airport. We just checked one more spot quickly, and yeah, buzzer beater Darwin carpet python. We have to boost now to go to the airport, but that is such an awesome way to end the video. How good.